My sister stole my boyfriend. Not by accident, not through some misunderstanding. She took him deliberately, knowingly, while looking me straight in the eye and telling me she was sorry. For 2 years, I watched them build a relationship on the ashes of mine. I watched her wear the necklace he'd given me for my birthday. I watched her post pictures of them at the restaurant where he'd first told me he loved me. And when the wedding invitation arrived in my mailbox, cream-colored cardstock with gold lettering, my name written in elegant script, I stared at it for a long time. Everyone expected me to skip it, to be bitter, to cut them out of my life. But I didn't. I RSVP'd yes. I bought a gift. I showed up with a smile. Because I'd spent 2 years preparing for this moment. Not for revenge, not to ruin her day, but to give her something she'd carry for the rest of her life. The truth. And sometimes the truth is the most unforgettable gift of all. My name is Lauren Mitchell, and I'm 28 years old. I grew up in a small town outside of Boston, Massachusetts, in a white colonial house with blue shutters and a big backyard. My sister, Vanessa, is 3 years older than me. Growing up, we were close. Or at least I thought we were. Vanessa was the golden child. Beautiful, confident, always the center of attention. She had thick, dark hair that fell in perfect waves, a smile that could light up a room, and a way of making everyone love her. I was quieter, bookish. I wore glasses and cardigans and spent my weekends reading in coffee shops instead of going to parties. Our parents adored Vanessa. She was their pride and joy, the daughter who did everything right. Straight A's, captain of the volleyball team, homecoming queen. I didn't mind. I loved my sister. I was proud of her. And I never thought she'd be capable of hurting me the way she did. I met Ryan Hayes when I was 24. He was a graphic designer, tall and easygoing, with light brown hair and kind green eyes. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue, and we talked for 3 hours straight about everything and nothing. He made me laugh. He listened when I talked. He saw me in a way no one else ever had. We started dating that summer. For the first time in my life, I felt like I wasn't living in anyone's shadow. Ryan didn't compare me to Vanessa. He didn't wish I was more outgoing or more confident. He loved me exactly as I was. We were together for 1.5 years. We talked about moving in together, about the future, about maybe, one day, getting married. I thought he was the one. Vanessa had just gone through a bad breakup when Ryan and I started getting serious. She'd been dating some guy from her law firm, a partner, older, successful, but he'd cheated on her, and she was devastated. I felt terrible for her. So when she asked if she could stay with me for a few weeks while she figured things out, I said yes, without hesitation. "You're the best, Lauren," she said, hugging me tight. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Ryan was sweet about it too. He helped her move her things into my spare bedroom. He made her laugh when she was crying. He told her she deserved better. At first, I was grateful. I thought we were helping her heal. I didn't realize what was actually happening. It started with little things. Vanessa would join us for dinner more often. She'd laugh a little too loud at Ryan's jokes. She'd touch his arm when she talked to him. I told myself I was being paranoid. She was just lonely. She was going through a hard time. But then I noticed the way Ryan looked at her. The way his eyes would linger just a second too long. The way he'd smile when she walked into the room. One night, I came home from work early and found them in my living room, sitting close on the couch watching a movie. They weren't doing anything wrong, not technically, but something about it felt off. "Hey," I said, setting my bag down. "What are you guys watching?" Vanessa turned and smiled. Oh, just some rom-com. Ryan was telling me about it. You should join us. Ryan patted the spot next to him. Yeah, come sit. But the space felt wrong, like I was intruding. I made an excuse and went to my bedroom. That night, lying in bed, I told myself I was overreacting. But deep down, I knew. Something had changed. 2 weeks later, Vanessa moved out. She said she'd found an apartment closer to work. She thanked me for everything, hugged me tight, and left with all her boxes loaded into a rental van. I thought things would go back to normal. They didn't. Ryan started acting distant. He'd cancel our plans last minute. He'd say he was tired or stressed about work. He stopped texting me good morning. When I asked if something was wrong, he'd smile and say, "No, everything's fine. I'm just busy." But I could feel him pulling away. One Friday night, we were supposed to have dinner at our favorite Italian restaurant. I got dressed up, put on the navy blue dress he liked, did my makeup, wore the necklace he'd given me for my birthday, a delicate silver chain with a small star pendant. I waited at the restaurant for 40 minutes. He never showed up. When I called, he didn't answer. I went home, embarrassed and confused, and cried myself to sleep. The next morning, he texted, "I'm so sorry, something came up. Can we talk later?" We never did talk, because 3 days later, I found out the truth. I saw them together at a coffee shop downtown. I'd gone to meet a friend, and there they were, Ryan and Vanessa, sitting at a corner table by the window. They were holding hands. Vanessa was laughing, her head thrown back, her hair catching the afternoon sunlight. Ryan was looking at her the way he used to look at me. I stood frozen on the sidewalk, my heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. They didn't see me. I turned around and walked away, my hands shaking, tears blurring my vision. That night, Vanessa called me. "Hey, Lauren," she said, her voice careful. "Can we talk?" I already knew what she was going to say. "Go ahead," I said quietly. There was a long pause. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said finally, "but Ryan and I have been spending time together, and we've developed feelings for each other." Developed feelings. Like it was something that just happened naturally, like she hadn't deliberately pursued my boyfriend. "How long?" I asked, my voice hollow. "A few weeks," she admitted. "I know this is hard for you, Lauren, but I really care about him, and he cares about me too." "Does he?" I said flatly. "I'm sorry," Vanessa said. "I really am, but I can't help how I feel." I hung up. Ryan called an hour later. "Lauren, please let me explain." "What to explain?" I said, my voice breaking. "That you fell in love with my sister while you were still with me?" "It's not like that," he said. "I didn't plan this. It just happened." "You're a coward," I said quietly, and I hung up on him too. For weeks, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think about anything else. I kept replaying every moment, every conversation, every time I'd invited Vanessa into my life, thinking I was helping her. My parents tried to stay neutral. "These things happen, honey," my mom said gently. "Vanessa didn't mean to hurt you." But she did hurt me. And the worst part was that no one seemed to care. Everyone moved on. Everyone expected me to get over it. But I couldn't. 6 months later, Vanessa and Ryan got engaged. She posted the news on social media, a photo of her hand with a diamond ring, Ryan's arm around her waist, both of them beaming. The caption read, "I found my forever. So grateful for this beautiful life." I stared at that post for a long time, and that's when I made my decision. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cause a scene. I was going to wait, and when the time was right, I was going to give her a gift she'd never forget. The wedding invitation arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in March. It was beautiful, expensive, cream cardstock with gold foil lettering, tucked inside an ivory envelope with my name handwritten in elegant calligraphy. Lauren Mitchell and guest. You are cordially invited to celebrate the marriage of Vanessa Mitchell and Ryan Hayes. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to rip it up, to throw it away and never think about it again. But another part of me, the part that had been quietly planning for months, knew exactly what I was going to do. I RSVP'd yes. No guest, just me. When my mom called, she sounded surprised. "You're actually going?" she asked. "Of course," I said calmly. "She's my sister." "That's very mature of you, sweetheart," Mom said, relief in her voice. "I know this hasn't been easy, but I'm proud of you for being the bigger person." I didn't tell her what I was planning. I didn't tell anyone. Over the next few months, I prepared. I bought a gift, something thoughtful, something perfect. I bought a dress, a simple, elegant, emerald green midi dress with long sleeves and a modest neckline. Nothing flashy, nothing that would draw attention. I practiced what I would say, over and over, in front of the mirror, in my car, at night before I fell asleep. I needed to get it exactly right, because I would only get one chance. The wedding was in June, at a beautiful estate venue, an hour outside the city. Rolling green lawns, white tents, string lights hanging from oak trees. It was the kind of wedding Vanessa had always dreamed about. I arrived early, before most of the guests. I wore my green dress, simple gold earrings, and the same silver star necklace Ryan had once given me. I'd considered leaving it at home, but decided against it. It was a reminder, for me, of who I used to be before all this. I checked in at the guest book table, smiled politely at the coordinator, and found my seat. Table 7, in the back, far from the family tables. I wasn't surprised. The ceremony was lovely. Vanessa looked stunning in her white lace gown, her hair swept up in an elegant updo, a long veil trailing behind her. Ryan stood at the altar in a gray suit, his hands clasped, his face serious. When Vanessa walked down the aisle on her father's arm, everyone stood and smiled. I stood too. I watched them exchange vows, watched Ryan slip the ring onto her finger, watched them kiss as husband and wife while everyone clapped. And I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just a strange, calm clarity. The reception was held under the big white tent on the lawn. Dinner was served, filet mignon, roasted vegetables, champagne toasts. I ate quietly, made small talk with the strangers at my table, and waited. After dinner came the speeches. The best man went first, one of Ryan's college friends. He told a funny story about Ryan getting locked out of his dorm room in his underwear. Everyone laughed. Then Vanessa's maid of honor spoke. She talked about how beautiful Vanessa was, how lucky Ryan was, how perfect they were together. More applause. And then the DJ announced, "We'd like to invite anyone else who'd like to say a few words to come up to the microphone." This was my moment. I stood up. A few people glanced at me as I walked toward the front, but most didn't notice. I took the microphone from the DJ, my hands steady, my heart calm. "Hi, everyone," I said, my voice clear and warm. "For those who don't know me, I'm Lauren, Vanessa's sister." Vanessa looked up from her table, surprised. Ryan's expression shifted. Confusion, then something like dread. "I just wanted to say a few words and to give Vanessa and Ryan a wedding gift." I reached into my small purse and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "This is a timeline, a very detailed timeline." The tent went quiet. "It starts in August, 2 years ago, the month Vanessa moved in with me after her breakup, the same month she met my boyfriend, Ryan." Vanessa's face went pale. It includes dates, text messages, photos, receipts from restaurants, all the moments when Vanessa and Ryan were spending time together, while Ryan and I were still dating. I unfolded the paper slowly, letting everyone see the printed screenshots, the highlighted dates. For example, October 14th. Ryan told me he had to work late, but according to his credit card statement, which he accidentally left open on my laptop, he was actually having dinner with Vanessa at Marcello's. That's the Italian place where he and I had our first date. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Ryan stood up. "Lauren, stop." "I'm almost done," I said gently, holding a hand. I turned to Vanessa. "You told me you didn't mean for this to happen, that you couldn't help you felt. But this timeline shows 17 separate occasions when Vanessa and Ryan met up while Ryan and I were still dating. 17 times you chose to betray me." Tears welled up in Vanessa's eyes. "I'm not here to ruin your wedding. I'm here to give you a gift, the truth. Because I spent 2 years wondering if I was crazy, if I'd imagined it all, if I was just being jealous and bitter." I placed the timeline on the gift table next to the card box. "But I wasn't crazy. And now you get to carry this truth with you forever. Every time you look at your wedding photos, every time someone asks how you met, every time you tell the story of your love, you'll remember that it started with a lie." The tent was completely silent. I handed the microphone back to the DJ, picked up my purse, and walked out. No one tried to stop me. I drove home in silence, the summer sun setting behind me, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. My phone started buzzing immediately. Texts from my mother, from friends. I turned it off. I didn't hear from Vanessa for 3 weeks. The silence was heavy, but I didn't break it. I went to work, I met friends for coffee, I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. Watercolors, mostly. Landscapes and abstract shapes in blues and greens. It felt good to create something that was mine, something no one could take. My phone stayed mostly quiet. A few supportive texts from friends who'd heard what happened, a voicemail from my aunt saying she was proud of me for standing up for myself. My parents didn't call. That hurt more than I expected. Finally, on a Thursday evening, there was a knock at my door. I looked through the peephole. It was Vanessa. She stood on my doorstep in jeans and an old college sweatshirt, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup. She looked smaller somehow, tired. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "Hi," she said quietly. "Hi," I said. We stood there for a moment, the evening air warm between us. "Can we talk?" Vanessa asked. I considered saying no, closing the door, being done with her forever. But I didn't. I stepped aside and let her in. We sat in my living room, her on the armchair, me on the couch, the same couch where she and Ryan had watched movies while I was at work. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, Vanessa broke the silence. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't respond. "I know that doesn't mean anything," she continued. "I know I destroyed everything, but I need you to know I'm sorry." "Why did you do it?" I asked quietly. Vanessa looked down at her hands. "I don't know," she said. "At first, I told myself it was just friendly, that I was just getting to know him because he was your boyfriend. But then—" She trailed off. "Then what?" I pressed. "Then I realized he made me feel good, special, and I'd just been cheated on and I felt so worthless. And Ryan, he listened to me. He made me laugh, and I convinced myself it wasn't wrong because we weren't doing anything physical." "You were emotionally cheating, both of you." "I know," Vanessa whispered. "And by the time I realized what was happening, I was already in too deep. I'd already fallen for him." So you chose him over me, I said. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I told myself you'd get over it, she said, that you'd find someone else, that you were strong and you'd be okay. But you didn't care if I was okay, I said, my voice calm but firm. You cared about what you wanted. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. You're right. I was selfish. I was cruel. And I don't deserve your forgiveness. I looked at my sister, this woman I'd grown up with, shared a room with, told secrets to, and I realized something. I didn't recognize her anymore. Maybe I never really had. What happened after I left, at the wedding? Vanessa wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. It was awful, she said quietly. People were staring, whispering. Some guests left early. Mom was furious. Dad wouldn't even look at me. And Ryan? I asked. Vanessa's face crumpled. He blamed me, she said. He said I should have told you the truth from the beginning, that this was all my fault. We got into a huge fight at the hotel that night. She looked up at me, mascara smudged under her eyes. We almost called off the honeymoon, she said. I felt a small, bitter satisfaction at that, then immediately felt guilty for it. Are you still together? I asked. Yes, Vanessa said. We're trying, but it's hard. Every time we're around family or friends, people look at us differently, like we're the couple who built their relationship on betrayal. You did, I said, simply. Vanessa flinched, but she didn't argue. Why are you here, Vanessa? What do you want from me? She took a shaky breath. I want to know if there's any chance you'll ever forgive me. I know I don't deserve it, but you're my sister, Lauren. You're my only sister, and I miss you. I sat with that for a moment. Did I miss her? The truth was, I missed who I thought she was. I missed the version of my sister who I believed would never hurt me. But that person had never really existed. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said honestly. Not right now. Maybe not ever. Vanessa nodded, more tears falling. But, I continued, I don't want to carry this anger forever. It's too heavy. So maybe one day I'll be able to let it go. Not for you, for me. That's more than I deserve, Vanessa whispered. Yes, I agreed. It is. Vanessa stood up to leave. At the door, she turned back. That timeline you made? How long did it take you? Months, I said. I started putting it together the day you told me about you and Ryan. Every receipt I could find, every social media post, every lie I could remember. Why? She asked. Why go through all that? I looked at her. Because I needed proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't imagining things, that what you did to me was real. I paused. And because I wanted you to see it too. All of it, laid out in black and white, so you couldn't pretend it just happened, so you'd have to face what you actually did. Vanessa's face was pale. Did it work? She asked. Do you feel better now? I thought about that. No, honestly, but I feel free, and that's enough. After she left, I made myself a cup of tea and sat on my balcony watching the sunset over the city. My phone buzzed, a text from my mom. Vanessa told me she came to see you. I hope you two can work things out. Family is important. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed back, I'm not ready yet, and that's okay. I didn't wait for a response. I put my phone down and breathed in the cool evening air. Over the next few months, I started to heal. Not because I forgave Vanessa, not because Ryan apologized, he never did, but because I chose to rebuild my life on my own terms. I got a promotion at work. I traveled to Ireland with 2 friends, something I'd always wanted to do. I started dating again, casually, with no pressure, and slowly I stopped thinking about them every day. Vanessa tried to reach out a few more times, birthday texts, an invitation to Thanksgiving that I politely declined. I wasn't ready to play happy family yet. Maybe I never would be, and that was okay. A year after the wedding, I ran into Ryan at a bookstore downtown. We made eye contact across the fiction section. He looked uncomfortable, guilty. "Hey, Lauren," he said, walking over. "Hi," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "How have you been?" he asked. "Good," I said. "Really good, actually." He nodded, shoving his hands in his pockets. I, uh, wanted to say I'm sorry for how everything happened. You didn't deserve that." "No," I agreed. "You didn't." He shifted uncomfortably. Are you happy?" he asked. I thought about that question. Was I happy? Not in the way I'd imagined when we were together, not with the white picket fence and the future we'd planned, but I was free. I was myself. I was building a life I was proud of. "Yes," I said, and I meant it. Ryan nodded slowly. "I'm glad." He started to walk away, then turned back. "For what it's worth," he said, "I think about you sometimes, about what I gave up." I looked at him, this man I'd once loved, once trusted, once imagined spending my life with, and I felt nothing. "I don't," I said quietly, and I walked away. Today, I'm 30 years old. I live in a small apartment in downtown Boston that I decorated myself. Plants on every windowsill, art on the walls, books stacked on every surface. I haven't spoken to Vanessa in over a year. Maybe one day we'll repair our relationship. Maybe we won't. Either way, I'm okay. Because I learned something important from all of this. The truth is powerful, but it's not a weapon meant to destroy. It's a mirror meant to reflect. When I stood up at that wedding, I wasn't trying to ruin Vanessa's day. I was giving her and everyone there the chance to see the reality of what had happened. Not my version, not her version, just the facts. And sometimes that's the most loving thing you can do, not for revenge, but for clarity. So if you're reading this and you've been betrayed by someone you love, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. You're not being dramatic. You're not overreacting. Your feelings are valid. Your pain is real. And you deserve the truth, even if no one else is willing to give it to you. So give it to yourself. Write it down. Face it. Own it. And then, when you're ready, let it go. Not because the people who hurt you deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. My name is Lauren Mitchell. My sister stole my boyfriend and married him, and I gave her a wedding gift she'll never forget. Not out of hate, but out of love for myself. And that made all the difference.